Have you got a hard punch? If yes, well, good for you, but you box with your feet and not your hands. So if you can't use your footwork effectively, then you're never going to be able to land them punches anyway. If you're new to the channel, my name is Cody. I'm an amateur boxer and boxing coach. I run a free online boxing forum where you can get coached boxing completely for free with in-depth tutorials and workout guides. And today I'm going to be breaking down 5 massive footwork mistakes that you cannot be making and how to fix them. Mistake number 1 is not moving your feet before or as you're throwing punches. Now, I see a lot of beginners do this where they throw punches first and then their feet fall and follow them. So they might throw a 1-2 and then they're kind of all over the place, off balance. And you know, that usually stems from leaning to throw punches and then having to readjust your feet. Now, what I'm doing might look like an exaggeration, but I actually see a lot of beginners do it. So what to do instead? Instead of leaning in to try and reach a punch, if you've got an opponent who's far away from you, don't lean forward and try and get them, because now I'm off balance and that's why you fall off your feet, right? So instead, think about stepping with the feet at the same time as you throw punches. Or alternatively, as that can be quite hard to time and practice in a real life sparring scenario, practice moving the feet first and then throwing. So bring the feet in and then you can throw punches. You've got to be able to get into range first before you land them shots. You can't lean forward and go off balance. So make sure you're bringing the feet with you before or as you throw your punches. Mistake number 2, the narrow wheelbarrow. I'm not sure why I called it that. It just sounded catchy, but either way, you don't want to make this mistake. So what I mean is by the narrow wheelbarrow is bringing your feet too narrow when stepping in and out. So a lot of people do this. So they've got their lead foot, they'll throw a punch, and then they'll do this. They'll bring that front foot too close to their back foot. So they'll go boom, and do this on the way out. Boom, boom, do this on the way out. It's kind of like they're doing this with their feet. And as you can see, when I bring that front foot in, I end up in a really narrow position. And when you're narrow, you've got no balance or stability. If you've got no balance or stability, then you're not ready to throw punches or defend punches. And if you're not ready to do that, then you're not in a very good position at all, because your opponent can take advantage of that. Because if you can't throw punches efficiently and if you can't defend efficiently, that's a perfect opportunity for your opponent to catch up on. So to fix this, what we want to work on is, instead of bringing the front foot back first when we step backwards, you want to make sure you step in with the back foot first and then pushing off the front foot. So rather than just moving the front foot like this, it's right foot first and then push like so. Just a little slide like that, little push there, because that's how you step backwards properly, because now I can step back and I'm ready to throw punches straight away. Whereas if I'm doing this, I'm not ready. I have to go back in my stance before I can throw punches. And that split second of time could be fatal in the ring. Mistake number 3, the switcher. Now, as a beginner boxer, or to be fair, you don't really need to practice this as you get better, really. But there's not really any reason to go from orthodox to southpaw or vice versa. You don't need to be switching stances, especially early on in your journey. Because if you can't even master one stance, why do you need to work on the other stance yet? So if you're already confused about footwork, or you still struggle with it a lot and it frustrates you, or there's issues that need to be fixed, don't switch stance. That's not going to solve your problems. I see a lot of beginners that come forward, they throw their shots and they fall over their feet, they come really square, then they end up southpaw without even realizing it, because they're just rushing forward and trying to land punches. Then they stay southpaw and then they do all this effort to come back out, turn, and then they're ready to go again. If you just stayed in the same stance the whole time, you'd be so much more effective and you'd be a much better boxer. Get really good at one stance before you even consider trying the other side. Just stay on one side, as your balance will be better and everything will be better. I just can't stress it enough. I'm not saying never switch to southpaw, because I do believe that at some point you should have some ability in southpaw, because if an opponent catches you off balance and you have to go southpaw for a split second, then it's good to know how to do it, right? But for now, focus on getting the basics of your normal stance for your footwork first before trying something different. Mistake number 4. Are you ready for this? No, I don't think you are ready, because if you were, you would have been in a position to throw a punch or be able to defend punches. Now, what I'm referring to here is keeping your shape. I see a lot of people who back up onto the ropes, and just because they feel the ropes, they suddenly go square. They're really upright like this, and their hands are like this, just like that. And that's not a good position for your footwork, because if my opponent was to pin me down on the ropes and put their weight on me, that's really hard for me to get off. I haven't got a strong base to work off there. So you've got to keep your shape. Even when you're backed up onto the ropes, think about keeping your shape here so it's easier to step round to the side. Now, at a high level, we do see some boxers who will go a little bit square, who are a bit more unorthodox. They'll sit here and they'll boom, set traps, boom, check hook away. But as a beginner, you don't want to make this mistake of staying here. Because again, you won't get much power in your punches. Your feet aren't fast enough to be able to do these slicker movements. So you need to focus on keeping that shape and then having that strong base there. You've got to keep your shape as a beginner. So no matter where you move, any direction, you're ready with that shape so you can throw punches and defend them. Mistake number 5, move before you need to move. Now, what I see a lot of beginners do, especially, and even at a high level of boxing, is people throwing punches, boom, 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 and then just staying where they are for way too long. And they kind of just, maybe if they're on the bag, just stare at the bag for a minute, or if they're in a spar, just look at their sparring partner, and they don't really do much until they feel like they absolutely need to. And I think if you want to have better reaction time and not get hit as much, move before you actually think you probably need to. So rather than going jab cross and then waiting for your opponent to throw, then moving, why not just go boom, boom, roll under, boom, pivot off, bam, 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 just around there. Move before you need to, because now you're going to be a lot more proactive and put yourself in a better position to counter punches, and also just make sure you don't get hit. If you're on the go all the time, although it takes a little bit more energy, it's harder for your opponent to hit you. So you don't want to get hit in boxing, it's hit and don't get hit. So make sure you're moving before the punches even get to you if possible. Now, if you're unsure of how to put this to practice and how to pick it up as soon as possible and put it all together, then you're going to want to watch this video next on footwork fundamentals, because this way you can get a step ahead. See what I did there? Click this video and I'll see you soon.